Hey guys, Desolator Magic here. It's time for the second half of the first chapter of the Dominaria storyline. In the first half, all the Gatewatch members yelled at each other. They were like, "Where's Jace?" And then Nissa took her ball and went home. Also, some demon dude got his big old smoking sword back, and he runs a cult. Also, Joyra is in a submarine trying to get the weather light from the bottom of some kind of body of water. So right after Nissa planeswalks away, everybody's just like, "Oh, this sucks." And then Gideon's like, "Yeah, I could go find her, but on the other hand, my chest hurts." And then just like out of nowhere, in the middle of the awkward silence, like, "Oh my god, did she just do that?" Chandra just blasts out, "I'm going to." And Gideon's like, "What?" And so Liliana's like, "Are you joking?" And Chandra's like, "I kid you not." Okay, that would have been awesome. And she's like, "No, I'm not quitting. I would never quit. But you're right, Gideon. I need to learn from this. We failed Amonkhet because I was too weak." Okay, first of all, y'all was too weak. And secondly, what are you going to do? Go train with gravity turned up to 3x and maybe some kind of time dilation chamber? It's just all Dragon Ball Z references so far. I gotta admit something to you guys. I don't know what the hell Dominaria looks like, and this entire time I've been picturing it as Namek. I don't know why. I can't control it. I can't stop it. So until they say otherwise, it's Namek. Also, that demon dude with the sword, definitely Frieza. And then Liliana, of course, by the way, tells her, "Oh, well, that isn't why we failed." Yeah, it is. Yeah, it freaking is. But then Chandra's like, "I have to become stronger." They couldn't hit you any harder in the face with the lesbian stereotypes at this point, by the way. Like, I don't think she meant "I can watch The Notebook without crying" stronger. I think she meant, like, power blow stuff up with more fire stronger. So Gideon's trying to explain. He's like, "Chandra, when I said learn from failure, that's not what I meant. In fact, where is she getting learned from failure to, like, I have to become stronger? Like, learn from failure means do things differently, not learn from weakness." And like, I don't even know where she's connecting those dots, but she's just like, "Bye-bye," planes walks away. Okay, her and Nissa are obviously eloping, and this was all planned, and yeah. So Liliana looks over to Gideon, and she's like, "Well, where are you going?" Because she's like, "Hey, y'all running away." But because Gideon is Gideon, he's like, "Nah, I'm staying. Nothing has changed. We need to destroy..." No, actually, he says, "We need you to destroy Bolus." Why is Liliana so powerful? Like, why do they think that? Why is she not currently? I still don't get that at all. But anyway, he's fully on board with, like, let's destroy the demon. Probably because, you know, white mana versus black mana, good versus evil, law versus chaos, or chaotic neutral at best. D&D jokes. So then Lily's like, "All right, let's go do that." But first she's like, yeah, we need to get you to a healer. Because, like, yeah, you're trying to be like Mr. Tough Guy, but you got, like, a hole in your shoulder. Oh, by the way, the exact line was, "We'll find a place so I can heal you." And then Gideon's like, "Oh, you know healing magic?" And she's like, "Yeah." Because, say it with me, everybody, because story. Why does she know healing magic? Because it's convenient. So her and Gideon make their way to some weird abandoned, ruined, like totally trashed village or town or something like that. And believe it or not, the town is called, get this, Vess. So I guess that's where she's from or something, because it was Liliana Vess, and, you know, sometimes people's last names are like either where they're from or their occupation or whatever. I don't know. So she's like, "Damn, this place got wrecked." Or, as they put it in the story, "Their boots squelched in the mud and scraped against broken paving stones and shattered glass. Death cloaked this town and the marsh around it, woven with the mist that drifted over the wet ground. Shades moved in the mist, faces that appeared then faded away. Death was everywhere." Which is why probably if you really want the real story, you should read it instead of my version. I tend to paraphrase and change things just a little bit. So apparently after whatever the heck happened to Vess, somebody kind of tried to fix it up. Like, some stuff was boarded up and, like, some of the grass was, like, cut down a little bit, and there was, like, a goat tied up outside, I guess. So I guess some people decided to stay after whatever. Oh, and also there's an Avon soldier up on one of the rooftops, which, if you're not familiar, is a bird person. So there's actually, like, some market stalls open and stuff, and she's, like, walking with Gideon, and everybody's, like, staring at them because they dress so damn weird. So looking around, she's just like, "What happened here?" Which, actually, I thought she knew. I guess something happened while she was gone. They kind of implied that, like, the way she left the marketplace, and the last time she saw the market square in the center of town, it was, you know, full of markets and stuff. I'm going to say that illegal immigrants came in, took all the jobs, and ruined the entire market economy. Or maybe it had something to do with, like, Amazon drone delivery. I'm not sure. So one of the townspeople comes up to Liliana. They're like, "What's wrong?" Because, you know, they saw Gideon was bleeding and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, man, thanks for asking. I mean, like, we don't know where Jace is, and I kind of liked him. Because, like, I mean, once upon a time, I thought I was falling in love, but now I'm only falling apart. There's nothing I could do. And then they're like, no, not your personal life. We mean Gideon. He's bleeding all over the place. And she's like, oh yeah, Gideon. Yeah, I'm supposed to heal him. That's why we came here. I totally forgot. Hey, Gideon. Gideon, turn around so we can take a look at your wound. Turn around. Okay, for the record, not one part of that happened. But seriously, Gideon's like, okay, you look a little concerned with like the whole state of things and crap. And Liliana's like, oh no, it's nothing. And Gideon's like, okay, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna have to be honest with each other. Seriously, I tried to go for the 3-part joke here and think of any song that would have anything to do with that line, and I just came up with nothing. Also, I'm lying. Okay, if I keep stopping to make jokes, Gideon's gonna bleed out. Let's get this over with. But seriously, Liliana's like, it's nothing. Just the place looks a little different than when I left it. Really. I have a new theory. The Democrats took over and just social programs and all this just tax and spend, and the whole place went to crap. Just total bankrupt welfare state. So he's like, oh, why were you here before? And she's like, because I was born here. And like, that's it. Like, that's the end of the section. So anyway, they get to an inn in the next section, which honestly isn't even a section. It's just like they just walked like 5 feet down the street and they're at the inn. I don't know why that needed a divider. Maybe they cut out the part where she like hopped on her smartphone and went to like hotels.com. Well, clearly she didn't do that because it says the innkeepers if I could talk today, the innkeepers seemed frankly astonished at the idea that they wanted to stay basically in this crap tank of a town. Hey, you want to hear what tolerance and equality sounds like? The innkeeper was a large, dark-skinned man. Literally the first thing they say about him, the most important thing about him is the color of his skin, not how he acts, what he says, how he did just anything, his background, his occupation, his fears, his dreams. Nope, color of his skin. First thing they say about him. When you see everything through the lens of race and gender, then you see everything through the lens of race and gender instead of actually seeing the person and treating them like a person. Thanks, SJWs, for eliminating racism and sexism from the world. Now, here's what you need to know about the innkeeper, all right? He's like, oh, it's been a long time since we had any travelers. Oh, that's great. As he built a fire for them in the fireplace in the room. That is service. What a nice guy. I like him already. So Liliana, being actually polite for once, she's like, hey, what happened here? This place has ... changed since I last saw it. Oh, it actually wasn't Democrats. It was the Cabal. You know, the cult, the demon-worshipping cult. What the hell's the difference? And he's like, well, they mean to take over the whole world, and they started by trashing this whole place, apparently. So Liliana actually kind of knows what's going on. She says that she knows that Belzenlock, the demon dude, had just completely replaced the god Kuber or whatever. We'll say Kubert, because that would be way cooler, to gain control over the Cabal, and their stronghold was now in Urborg. But she's like, wow, they spread so far? I mean, they must have been kind of massively incompetent and poorly ran. And she's like, oh, they actually did something. Who would have thought? So Innkeeper's like, yeah, they came here, and then they went to Benalia, wherever that is. And then he says that we fought to keep them off Erona, but we failed. Where and what are any of these places, and why should I care? That's going to be the theme for all 12 chapters. So apparently their evil magic or influence or whatever, I don't know, they're being very vague, just like killed the whole forest, which is why everything's just basically swampland now. And they like nuked the river basically. The river's just all silted up and it won't flow. And they said that he left in charge, a new leader for the area, a powerful lich. The only thing I love more than liches is killing liches. Well, I mean like destroying, like whatever. Look at this. He says the Church of Sarah came and they helped, and there was a great battle only a few days ago, but the Cabal basically won. It's because those damn Sarah angels cost too much frickin' mana, that's why. Damn it. Get some cheap angels. Wait a minute. Then Liliana says, does anyone here remember the House of Ves? I thought the city was called Ves. I'm pretty sure she said that. Unless when she meant here, she meant literally her house. Nothing's terribly clear in this story. So one of the innkeeper's daughters says, oh yeah, there's ghost stories about the old ruined manor in the morass, about the undead son and the evil daughter who fled. By the way, that's her. That one I'm familiar with. Okay, I read the origins storylines. And so she just cuts her off. She's like, oh yeah, I don't want to hear it. She literally says, yeah, that part I know. I meant the true history of the family. What happened to them afterward? What do you mean afterward? She didn't have any kids, I'm pretty sure. The girl's like, nah, I never heard nothing about after that. I can ask around for you if you like. maybe grab a phone book. I have a bad feeling about this. They brought in all the herbs because she requested, all the healing herbs they had because, an inn just has those. Honestly, they probably would. That kind of actually makes sense. But she says, yeah, they don't have what I need, but it should grow nearby. I'll go find it. This is literally how every single main quest in every RPG that has ever been made starts. Oh, no, we need to make a potion because somebody's sick. I'll go out and gather ingredients. Nothing bad will ever happen. Every single time you literally just walk out in the forest, there it is, pick the flower and come back. Nothing eventful happens. Nothing bad ever happens when this happens. And then when she's about to leave, she's like, don't fear, I'll abandon you. And he's like, I don't fear that. You need me to kill Belzenlock. Funny that they keep saying how much more powerful she is than the rest of the Gatewatch. I don't know about that. Hey, you know how they were just finished saying that the entire forest went to crap and it's basically just rotting crapland? Yeah, as it turns out. Okay, there's gonna be like one left and there's gonna be a clearing, there's gonna be a boss battle. Okay, maybe not, but she's like, yeah, the land did change so much that the herbs she wanted might no longer exist. Oh my gosh, I kid you not, I didn't read ahead, but this is actually not that far off. Okay, it says, once past the ruins, she made her way into the marsh. She found the herbs on a surviving island of higher ground and picked what she needed. See, it's like one little, I guess, clearing, and there's just a little bit left. And then it says she straightened up, looking off through a copse of moss-shrouded trees, and for a moment, the strange landscape was familiar again. This was where she had first met the Raven Man. I gotta hear more about this dude, because everybody's trying to tell me, like, the little bit that we know about him, but the whole point is, like, it's a mystery. Like, we don't really know who he is. He has something to do with, like after she made the deal, I think he started showing up or something, so he had something to do with it, or I don't know. Either that or the mask. It's one of the two. And then she thought maybe he was, like, in, like, Anak Ghost or whatever, who the hell lives in the mask. I don't know. But then I think he said that he wasn't or something. I don't know. Freaking recruit his ass to fight Bolas. He sounds pretty cool. So anyway, she starts having like flashbacks and she's like, oh, that's right. These are the same herbs that I tried to heal her, what was it, brother or whatever, Jasu with. And then that didn't work. So then she used like necromancy and then I don't remember what happened. It all backfired or something. Something about him turning into a mindless undead monster that later killed Lady Anna and her servants, and then she fled the plane because her spark ignited over the stress over it. Something like that. I don't know. So anyway, as she's out picking herbs, oh, convenient. Her house was still there. She's like, oh, look, it's my house. Cool. And she starts wondering, like, I just disappeared. Did they think that Josu killed me? Or did they wonder where I went? Or, whatever. But she, like, ever since she left, never once thought about it, she said. Which is obviously, complete BS. But whatever you want us to believe, Liliana. So she's like, okay, literally this was probably over 1,000 years ago, or at least a couple hundred. So it's kind of weird that the house is still there. And it says the twisted trees and heavy vegetation had grown right up the gray stone walls. So it's like, it's not like, oh, wow, it's still in pristine condition. It's like, no, it's probably really actually there. But she's like, this is madness, or some strange power at work. Well, not really. I mean, if it was an illusion, wouldn't it look the way it did before, usually? And then it says the doors to the main hall stood open. So it's probably full of raccoons. So she's convinced that the only reason that the house is still standing is some kind of magic, and she's wondering if it was like actually the actual Raven Man, like not his influence in her mind, like the real one, I guess. But she does smell blood, which is, that's probably not great. So all she has for evidence is in front of the fireplace, which they keep calling a hearth. Just call it a damn fireplace. My God. Anyway, there's some kind of like necromantic symbols and candles and all this cliche, crap, burnt right into the floor. And she's like, okay. And then there's like dried blood and stuff. And, she could still smell it. So she's thinking, okay, whatever happened here, it's no coincidence. Some weird crap's going down. I don't know what's up. So once again, basically the opening of every video game ever. So it says night had started to fall when she reached the outskirts of town. She had barely started on the path through the ruins when she sensed the surge of undead malice. So if you're like, you're a wizard, you got some magic, you're like, oh man, I sense undead power. You'd be like, oh crap, run. She's just like, I don't have time for this. Literally, she says, I don't have time for this, and just starts to run because she ain't got no time for this. Ain't nobody got time for this. And it says, now I assume she's on her way back into town. They didn't specifically say that. She heard the fighting before she reached the plaza and rounded the last corner to see the battle ahead. The market stalls had been set afire and dark figures fought across the plaza. See, that's why she was like seeing evil, ghostly faces in the mist, because she could like sense that an undead army was on the way in or something. I don't know. That's what they're going for. It doesn't really link up or make sense, but whatever. So they already killed the Avon warrior that was left behind, I assume, by the Sarah people or whatever. And the townspeople are trying to fight, but they're just wearing like crappy makeshift armor and like clubs and crap. So they're doing great. The undead army, for comparison, is wearing black armor with spikes. Somebody went shopping at Hot Topic. So apparently it's an army of undead knights that were raised by the Cabal, or some kind of Cabal cleric necromancer person thing. So since she knows necromancy inside and out, she's like, okay, if I take out the person who raised them and is controlling them, they'll all just redrop dead. So let's do that. So Gideon comes just like stumbling out of the inn with just like bandages on and no real true healing. And he probably still has his invincibility shield though, don't you think? Kind of wondered about that already. Anyway, he just borrowed some sword that he found or whatever, and he's fighting a knight on horseback. So another knight just bursts through the doors of the inn, and he's carrying in each hand the young woman, which is, I assume, like the innkeeper's wife or whatever, and one of his sons, one of the young boys who helped attend to their room. But then when he sees Gideon, like, basically, charge him, he charges him on horseback, so basically he just grabbed them and brought them out of the inn because, just dramatic effect, I guess. So before they even like clash with each other, Liliana's like, I'm good with this kind of stuff. And it says, she raised her hands. She drew strength from the dead slumped on the cold pavement, from the bones buried in the ruins, from the rotting corpses in the marsh and the ghosts in the mist. It must be nice to have enough mana for once. You must have gotten all your land drops right on curve. Lucky you. Oh, gee, I guess I'm just not as experienced of a planeswalker as Liliana. I've been in more battles than she has, and I get stuck at 2 land all the time. And what spell does she go for? I'm gonna call it Giant Pink Magic Missiles. It says she struck simultaneously like a dozen black armored knights and then just like ran into battle. That's the way you do it. Gideon's busy going all ape rage, but she's just like, yeah, multi-kill, what's up? So some random ghost soldier dude is like, I'm gonna charge her. That's a great idea. And before he even gets close, she just sends a black cloud shooting up from the ground, and it just rots him to dust. So then the dude on horseback who's charging Gideon, he has a lance because, when you have a lance and you're on horseback, naturally you go into the inn and then ride out on the horse. That makes perfect sense. How is he carrying the lance and 2 people? I'd love to know that. You ever notice with certain authors, certain types of authors, that nothing really has to actually make sense or link up? It's all about events and feeling and emotion, but it's not about like actual logic and things progressing and making sense together. Like all the Harry Potter books and movies. But anyway, Liliana just like took control of him, just straight up like dominate undead. What's up? Now keep in mind, Gideon staggered barely out of the inn. He's just feet from the inn, and then the other knight came charging out of the inn. I'll just say from a different door, even though they didn't, and then had time to build up a full gallop and lower his lance. They were probably 10 feet apart. See, here in the fiction writing world, we have a little thing called map it out and draw it out in your head and then try to describe it. Don't just make up things that are happening and hope it kind of makes sense in the physical world. And then she made his undead horse collapse into a pile of horse bones, which is hilarious, by the way. So she thought about like keeping him to fight, instead of also apparently disintegrating him with his horse, which it didn't say she did. Actually, it just says he tumbled to the ground. Whatever. So she's like, yeah, but the like 12 that she nuked all at once basically turned the tide of the whole battle, which is why magic is freaking awesome. This is why I always play a wizard in every game. And the townspeople are like, yeah, we're winning now. And then they like, grouped up together for, a charge. Man, I would have been like, hide behind Liliana. Like, that's the smart move if I don't have proper armor and weapons. But wait, the battle's not over. Liliana lifted her hand to destroy the last knight, but something whispered in her mind. The void awaits. Liliana froze, her heart pounding, then her lips curled in contempt. It was a trick. The undead knight's master had to be the lich who had devastated Caligo for the Cabal. Where's Caligo? See, I might care if I knew where that was or what it meant. I'm not expecting them to stop and explain everything, but I know this entire story is just going to be references to like places from the story and the other novels, and I just have no idea what they're talking about. It's kind of annoying. Oh, and then she's like, oh, this must be the same guy. Like, he's the only one powerful enough to use whatever arcane preservation, necro house magic apparently could revive a house, I don't know, for Vess Manor. And she's like, oh, I better, like ask him what's up with that. Well, then she's like, how could this lich know so much about her? So apparently void with a capital V is a specific reference to something. I don't know. Oh, yeah, guys, you ready for the biggest reveal so far? She's trying to like seek out where he is, what he looks like, what's going on, just follow the mana lines, all that crap. And the lich's face just all of a sudden appears. And guess what? It's her brother, Josu. That's why he was protecting the house. That is freaking wild. I seriously did not see that coming. I'd say kudos to Martha for the great twist that I didn't see coming. But honestly, he probably got resurrected as a gay lich. I mean, because we're in like social justice land. So I'm not quite gonna give it a pass yet. So Liliana's like, no, it can't be. No. And you think I'm making that up. No, I am literally reading what she said. So she got all pissed off. She was actually like using the connection between the undead knight, the last one remaining, and the lich to like spy on the lich. And then because she was so pissed off, she accidentally like surged the mana, just basically self-destructed the living balls off of the knight. Or as they put it, his corpse exploded and armor and rotting bones flew across the plaza. That'll be good for business. Having dead body parts and rotting corpses all over the place is why I don't shop at Walmart. And in a sudden twist of story logic, I don't even know how we got here, but the townspeople caught the human cleric who was controlling the undead, I guess, even though it was the lich, like literally a second ago. So Liliana's like, okay, townspeople, back up. He's mine. She drags him by his leg to like the firelight so she could interrogate him in the light, I guess. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. And she says, where's Josu and what has Belzenlock done to him? Oh, I get it. Belzenlock knows her because the pact and blah, blah, blah know each other for 1,000 years. And so he's like, you know what would be funny? Resurrecting her dead brother as a lich. That would be some funny crap. I know logically you have to be a magic user, like an actual wizard, to come back as a lich, but not in this story. So the cleric is like, oh, this is some funny crap, all right? Okay, get this. You get this. Ready? You ready for this? I'm going to drop some news on you. He knew, our demon lord, the scion of darkness. He knew you were coming. He has made your precious brother into his servant, the commander of his unholy forces. Okay, her brother's been dead for like 1,000 years. Like, what the hell? Like, how did he even... Would there even be bones left? In Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition, you can only use the, like, full-blown Tier 9 resurrection spell if the person has been dead for less than, I believe it's 200 years. Why do those rules apply? Because Wizards of the Coast owns both properties. That makes no sense, by the way. Oh, I get what's going on, even though, okay, I'll come back to this, but Josu now serves Belzenlock. The necromantic rite in Vess Manor has been used to turn Josu from a mindless undead into a powerful lich, capable of using Josu's memories and military training, but enslaved to Belzenlock, which is not at all how a lich works. That's how an undead knight works. My God. And rewind the tape. And I quote... And then she had fled the plane as her spark ignited, leaving her mother and father, all of her family and friends, everyone she had ever known to their fates. The spell animating Josu must have been broken when she left the plane. They're making it sound like Josu stayed an undead zombie and somehow also in perfect health, zombie health, like the whole time. And then demon dude just showed up and was like, let's make him a lich. Also, he's a warrior lich. And also he knows magic now. Because story. So then the cleric says, he serves our lord, and then a bunch of blood in his throat, and he goes, the void awaits, and then dies dramatically, I'm sure. This is a little cliche, a little bit of cheese factor here. Still, honestly, not bad. The story's going pretty good so far. I can't complain that much. So then Liliana's like, you'll pay for this, Belzenlock. No matter what I have to do, you will pay. That's the end of the chapter because, of course, that's how you end every chapter. I mean, come on. Shouting at the sky dramatically and angrily after the villain you're interrogating died. Whatever, that's it for this chapter. Chapter 2 is already out, but it's like already tomorrow, so screw it. I'm going to bed, but hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss the lore video. That'll almost definitely be coming tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next video.